it really all doom and gloom for Olympus? Maybe not. There's some updates coming your way for those Olympus shooters out there, and I've got 2 new lenses and 2 software updates. So stay tuned for that, and let's see what they are. All right, back in a second.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always coming down.
This is Camera Talk with Dr. Scott. Hi, welcome to another episode of Camera Talk. This is brought to you by Modesty Photography. And this week's episode is kind of a follow-up to the previous one. So this is part 2, talking about Olympus camera. You know, if you didn't watch part 1, please go back and watch that. Actually, I'll probably link it up here in the corner, up in this corner up here. And you can go back and watch that and then come back and watch this one. Because in the first episode, what I talked about was, you know, Olympus selling off their camera division to a company called Japan Industrial Partners, JIP. And, you know, I don't want to go through recapping that again, but, you know, it seemed, you know, like the future of Olympus camera systems was kind of on shaky grounds. There's no clear definition as to, you know, their future prospects, and would JIP continue to develop Olympus cameras and their lenses. So anyway, so this episode is actually to kind of reiterate that it's not all doom and gloom. This past week, Olympus has announced a few you know, positive things about the future and things that are upcoming. Now this, again, is likely to be part of you know, the sales agreement between Olympus and JIP that they are going to commit to continue at least as far as these updates go. So, you know, the things that were announced this week, there's 2 new lenses and 2 software.
The number of the day is 2.
So the first one, let's look at the lenses. Now there's a new lens coming out in the Pro line range, which is a 150 to 400 millimeter f4.5, which is you know, as far as micro four thirds goes, you know, is a nice range for a telephoto. You know, if you add in the 2 times crop, of course, that becomes a 300 to 800 millimeter lens in a full frame capacity. But it has a built-in teleconverter, a 1.25 times magnification, so that actually can turn that lens into the equivalent of a 375 to 1000 millimeter 5.6, you know, constant aperture throughout the range. And you know, hey, that for micro four thirds, that's an excellent telephoto range. So it's actually the big brother of their, you know, more economical version, which is a 100 to 400 millimeter lens, but it's also f5 to 6.3. So it's, you know, again, it's a great lens as far as telephoto goes, but this Pro one is one that catches photographers' eyes, especially, you know, wildlife shooters and whatnot. To which I'll mention that about the software coming up soon about that. Their next lens, which is also, you know, big news for Olympus shooters, is on the opposite end, on the wide angle, and it is another zoom, but it's an 8 millimeter to 25 millimeter ultra wide, and it's an f.4 constant again, throughout the range, and it's the equivalent of a 16 to 50 millimeter lens, which is a great range. You know, it can take you through wide all the way up to a normal.
Well, what is normal?
Rivals Panasonic, who's kind of been leading the way in that range, they have a similar focal length of a 20 to 60 millimeter, which is a 3.5 to 5.6 lens. So actually Olympus's new lens is going to better that one, and you know, kind of steal the spotlight on that. So those are the two new lenses that Olympus have announced that should be released by the end of this year, being 2020. So you Olympus users out there have something to look forward to. It's not all, like I said, it's not all doom and gloom. They also have a couple of software updates that they've announced as well. Now they have a subject recognition system. You know, it's the M1X. You know, it's a software that's loaded in the camera. And for wildlife shooters, what they've added to it now with an update that you can download is to recognize birds. So for wildlife shooters, you know, out there looking for, you know, shooting, you know, birds in flight and whatnot.
I got him.
You know, the software is going to be able to identify it that much faster, resulting in a faster focus on that on the subject. And oh, I hear my son crying for milk. Hopefully my wife and mother-in-law are taking care of that. Anyway, nothing gets the attention of a parent's ear more than their crying child. But anyway, I digress. The webcam, being able to use your camera as a webcam is fantastic. You don't have to go out and buy, you know, additional components for your PC. You could just, with the appropriate setup, use your camera, and of course, much better quality picture and so forth with that. So those are the 4 updates that have come from Olympus, and as I said, it's not all doom and gloom. You know, I'm not personally a Olympus shooter. You know, my cameras, I've got a couple Sonys and a Canon, but Olympus is still, as far as micro Four Thirds go, they're the ones who led the pack for the longest time, and you know, with them selling off that division, you know, it put their future on shaky ground. So it made a lot of people wonder what's going on. But wow, he's really letting it go now, huh? So anyway, that's all I have for you this week. It's a short video. Thanks for dropping by. So remember to subscribe. Remember to like this video.
Hit the like button if you like this video. Smash it.
And you know, again, have a great weekend, or have a great week, depending on when you're watching this. And thanks for dropping by. This is Camera Talk with Dr. Scott and Modesty Photography. So have yourself a great day.
Here I am,